to garbage time. And I want to talk about the Matthew Stafford situation. So over the weekend, I did a video on this already, so this isn't new news. But over the weekend, Matthew Stafford and the Detroit Lions officially agreed to part ways. And they're going to trade Matthew Stafford this offseason. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when and where. And I came out and I did a video, and I want to address a few things first with this statement that I'm making. First things first. With Matthew Stafford, I said he's a top 7 quarterback in this league. I made a list. My list of quarterbacks in front of him: Mahomes, Brady, Rodgers, Wilson, Allen, Watson. That's it. You got a guy or two that you want to stick in front of him? Knock yourself out. He's not outside of the top 10. And there were people that came at me, oh, you're crazy. And they started naming randos. I got Mayfield. I got Justin Herbert. I got Kyler Murray. What are you talking about? None of those guys are in front of Matthew Stafford at this point of his or their careers. Now, 3 years from now, those guys may be ahead of Matthew Stafford. But right now, if you want to add Lamar Jackson in, I'll listen. I don't agree, but I'll listen to that. He's an MVP. He's a difference maker. But if we're talking about playing the quarterback position, dissecting defenses, knowing what the defense is trying to do to you, knowing where to go with the football against this look and this pressure, he's top 7 in this league. You don't put anybody else in front of him. I also read a bunch of false narratives. Oh, he's injury prone. I don't know if I can give up. Let me stop that right there. Let me stop it dead in its tracks. The last 9 out of 10 seasons Matthew Stafford has played in 16 games. 9 out of 10, including this one, where he was all kinds of banged up, had no business playing in weeks 16 or 17, especially week 17 with nothing left to play for. Had hurt his ankle the week before against Tampa Bay, had nothing to play for. Man's got ribs, man's got a neck, man's got a hand, and he's got an ankle, and he played. And oh, by the way, they won. 16 games in 2020. And 8 times out of the 9 in the years previous to that. So this whole narrative about he's always injured, stop. It's false. It's low-hanging fruit. Do your homework before you feed into that false narrative, okay? The man's a soldier. So stop that. He plays. If he can walk, he's playing. Next thing is he's 32. He'll be 33 in 2 weeks. We've already talked about this. How much do you want to invest in a 33-year-old quarterback? I've stated this on this program multiple times. With the new rules and the way the league is set up, you can play until you're 40, 42, 44. We're seeing it already. Now, Stafford's going to have to trend in a different direction from an injury standpoint in terms of taking hits, and the next team that gets him needs to protect him better. It's essentially all I need to say. Okay, because he's gonna play through some things. He's gonna be a warrior. But how about he not have to do that? How about he doesn't take 13 hits and get sacked 4 times and get battered and bruised? How about you protect him? I hope wherever he goes, he's protected. So he doesn't have to go through a neck and a finger and an ankle and ribs. So he doesn't have to go through those things. It seemed like everyone enjoyed, including Matthew Stafford, enjoyed playing for Darrell Bevell when he took over as their interim head coach, and he wanted him back in Detroit, reportedly. And he's off to Jacksonville to coach under Urban Meyer, and that was the last straw for Matthew Stafford. So despite all of the assumptions, and a lot of people made them. Oh, he doesn't want to be a part of another rebuild in Detroit. He's sick of it. He's tired of losing. He's tired of new GM and new coach. He wants out. Nah, not exactly. If they would have kept a little normalcy around him, just a little bit. Remember the last time they changed coaches. He was like, look, man, just let me keep Joe Bob Cooter. You know? Let me keep the serial killer as my OC and we good. They kept him for that first year just to appease him, and then I think they ended up getting rid of him the next year. He just wanted a familiar face. At some point, you get tired of looking around the locker room and seeing a bunch of funny lookings. Don't know him. Never seen him before. Don't know him. Hey, what's his name? At some point, you just want some familiar faces around. And not have to start from scratch offensively with a brand new scheme, with new terminology. If I'm going to do that, I might as well go to a different team. If you're going to make me start over from scratch offensively with a brand new scheme, with different terminology, I might as well go somewhere else. You know what? That makes a ton of sense. And I'm going to tell you right now, Deshaun Watson is the crown jewel of the offseason. There's no mistaking that. But you know who the better value is this offseason if you're a veteran team? Not even a question. It's Matthew Stafford. You're going to give up multiple first-round picks. You know, the 3, I don't know if you're going to have to give up 3 for Deshaun Watson. If I'm the Texans, yeah, I want 3 first-round picks. I already told you. It's going to be an astronomical amount that you're going to have to pay to get Deshaun Watson. And that's the way it should be. We don't see quarterbacks of his stature at this point of his career. The man is literally going into the prime. He's going into the prime of his career. He hasn't even gotten there yet. Yeah, no, you're going to pay for this. You're going to pay top dollar for this. Matthew Stafford's 33. He'll be 33 in 2 weeks. You're not going to have to pay top shelf prices. Okay? This is the equivalent of going to the bar. You want that top shelf liquor? You don't want a hangover tomorrow? You're going to pay for that. You're going to pay for that. Now, you can have the same drink, but we're going to give you this well liquor right here. We're going to give you the house liquor. You might wake up with a hangover. You might have a slight headache tomorrow. It'll cost you a hell of a lot less, though. So which is it going to be? I think a lot of teams will pick up the phone and first call for Matthew Stafford before they call for Deshaun Watson. I think New England's going to call for Matthew Stafford before they call for Deshaun Watson. I think the New Orleans Saints are going to call for Matthew Stafford before they call for Deshaun Watson. And let me make something else abundantly clear to you. And I will come back here and I'll offer up a double O. And I don't like doing that very often. But I will tell you in advance that I will offer up a double O if this doesn't go this way. And I stated this last night. I'm going to repeat it here because all of you weren't with me last night when I said this. When trades like this happen, trades of this magnitude that we're going to see with Watson and Stafford, not necessarily with the Jets. They don't care about Sam Darnold. They don't think he's going to come back and scorn them for the next decade. So they could trade him in conference. They don't care about Sam Darnold. But when you talk about a Matthew Stafford, you talk about a Deshaun Watson, they don't want to see these guys once or twice a year. They don't want to see these guys at all. And I said this last night, if you go back in the Rolodex of trade history, recent trade history, when big trades take place, they don't trade that player in the conference because I don't want to see that guy again. I may have to see him in 4 years when we play the AFC and we have to play that conference. We have to play that particular division. But I don't want to see that guy next year because we got to play that division, or because we finished at the same spot of the team in that division, and so we got to play him now, and then we might see him again in the postseason. Again. I don't want to see that guy. When you go back all the way to the Khalil Mack trade, could have traded him anywhere. And look, they got a pretty sweet deal. I got to admit, they got a pretty sweet-ass deal. Some sweet action from Chicago. But it's in the NFC. I don't have to see this guy. You think Khalil Mack didn't want to tear the Raiders a new asshole? They didn't have to see him again. It's perfect. I think they've seen him one time since they traded him. And that was over in London last year, I believe it was. You don't want to deal with that guy. You don't want to see him again. How about the, shame on you if you step to the old dirty Beckham. How about the ODB trade? Giants could have moved him anywhere. Traded him to the Browns. Why? That was a pretty sweet deal. You get Jabril Peppers. You get yourself a guard, a good guard. And you get a first-round pick. It's a pretty sweet deal. But, you know what was the nice cherry on top? Hey, he's in the AFC. Get him out of here. I don't have to see his ass 2 times a year. Potentially. I definitely don't have to see him for the foreseeable future. Get him out of here. Send him over to the AFC. How about the Jamal Adams trade? Hey, can't turn down 2 first-round picks for a safety, man. That's some sweet-ass action, okay? That's some sweet action. However, you know they're going to be late first-round picks because the Seahawks are going to be good. And it's the Jets. The Jets are saying, hey, Seattle's in the NFC. We don't have to see Jamal Adams ever again. Maybe once in 3 or 4 years when we got to play the NFC West. But for the most part, we've washed our hands of him. We don't have to see this guy unless we make it to the Super Bowl. Then we'd be glad to see him. How about Stephon Diggs? You see where I'm going with this. They could have traded Stephon Diggs. We heard that it came down to the Patriots and the Bills. Did you want to help the evil empire with Stephon Diggs? Or did you say, nah, we'll trade him to the Bills. They're less dangerous. Well, that's not actually the case anymore. Probably we're better off for everyone involved sending him to New England, where he would have had no quarterback and he probably would have been pissed off right now. But that's nor here nor there. Both AFC teams is what I'm getting at. What I'm telling you is the likelihood of Matthew Stafford ending up in the NFC is slim and none. Okay? For all you NFC teams out there, Saints, 49ers, Washington, it sounds good and it's a really good discussion to have, but if we're being realistic, he's more likely to end up in New England or Indianapolis than somewhere in the NFC. Denver, any of those AFC teams, he's more likely. Chicago, take them off the list. They're an NFC team, especially in the division. They're definitely not trading him to the Bears. I just want you guys to understand how these things work and the psychological warfare that is played when these types of transactions are taking place. They know what Stafford is capable of. They know how good he is. They don't want him tormenting them in their same conference. They're going to ship him to the AFC and allow that to be the AFC's problem, not the NFC's problem. Deshaun Watson, more likely than not, and again, things could change, more likely than not, gonna end up on an NFC team. You think the Texans want to trade him to the Jets and have to deal with this guy once, potentially twice a year? Trading him to the Jets this year would mean you'd have to play him this year. The Jets and the Texans both finished in last place of their divisions. I take that back. The Jaguars finished in last place. So that wouldn't technically be correct. But you don't want to have to face Deshaun Watson as a Jet. You don't want to have to deal with him on your schedule because the AFC South plays the AFC East next year. You don't want to have to deal with that for the next decade. You don't want the Jets in your conference stopping you from getting to the playoffs because the Jets with Deshaun Watson are the 6th seed and you just missed out by one game because the Jets were good enough to get in because Deshaun Watson now has them at 10-6. Or because we'll be playing 17 games next year, 10-7. And you just missed out at 11-6 because Watson has the Jets playing good ball. You much rather make that an NFC problem. Send him to Washington. Send him to the 49ers. Send him to the Saints. Send him to the Bears. Make it their problem, not ours. I'm just telling you, the likelihood of an AFC team getting their hands on Deshaun Watson, slim and none. Now, again, one thing could change all of that. Same thing for the Matthew Stafford situation. One thing could change all of that. Compensation. You really want Matthew Stafford in the NFC? You're going to have to pony up. And your deal is going to have to be 20 to 30% greater than that of an AFC team's deal. You're going to have to overpay to get them to turn down an equal value deal in the AFC. If all things are equal, they're going to trade into the AFC. Now, if you knock their socks off with the deal and they're like, man, they're giving us a 1, 2, and a 3, a 1 and a 2 this year, a 3 next year, and all the Patriots or the Colts want to give us is their first rounder this year. We'll take the 1, 2, and the 3. You can make it really easy on them. You're going to have to sweeten the deal, though. If it's close, if the Patriots say, we'll give you a 1 this year and a 3 next year, and you say, I'll give you a 1, 2, and a 3, that second round pick isn't good enough. I'll just trade him to the AFC. I'd love to have that second round pick, but it's not good enough for me to have to face Matthew Stafford for the next 10 years. I'm good. I'll trade him to the AFC. You're going to have to really sweeten that deal. So, I just wanted to add that into the mix. But in any event, it's going to do it for me. Your man, Louie T. I thank you guys for joining me here on the Louie T Network podcast. Louie T.